folks, Pam Graham here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can improve your credit score. A couple you may not even know anything about. So let's get started. Number 1, make your payments on time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Duh, Pam Graham. That's a given. But let me tell you the story. I had this listing. It was getting a lot of traffic. I couldn't keep up, so I started making appointments to do consultations in the office so that I could start showing it to qualified buyers. This couple, very nice couple, came in. We went over the buying process, got them to a lender. My lender calls me up and she's like, Pam, they can't buy because they are currently in a house that they own that they have allowed payments to get behind and they're going into foreclosure. And I'm like, what? How do people not know that they couldn't buy another house? So that got me thinking, sometimes people, you have to tell them the obvious. Not to be a jerk, just because some people just don't understand. And until you know, you don't understand. So now I just want to make sure I'm perfectly clear. Now, the other thing about the payments too, let's say your car payment is due June 10th and you make it June 12th or June 15th. Okay, the payment is late, but yes, they'll probably more than likely charge you a late fee, but it's not going to go on your credit. Now, let's take that June 10th payment. Let's say you don't make it until July 11th. Now, not only are you going to get a late pay, but you're also going to get dinged on your credit, and that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt a lot. That could drop you by 50, 100 points just for that one late pay. And then it can take you a year or two before you qualify for a loan. So always make your payments on time. Okay. Number 2, this is the one that some people aren't aware about, and I wish that I knew about this sooner, like when I was very, very, very young. Not that I'm old, I'm still young. But it's to become an authorized user on somebody else's credit card. Let me give you an example. You want to boost your credit. Let's say you're just out of high school. You graduated. You want to get some credit going. Good credit is good. I mean, you have to have good credit, really, for most anything. If you want to get housing, whether it's renting or buying, or insurance, car insurance, you get better rates if your score is a little bit higher. So let's go back a little bit. You say, Mom and Dad, they have this credit card. They've had it for 10 years. Always paid on time. Never late. What their balance is 30% or less. You get put on their account as an authorized user. You do not even need to receive the card. They can just trash it, cut it up, stick it in the freezer, whatever. Now, the next month, when it's reported on your credit, you're going to get the benefit of their good, payments on time, their low balance, the history being so long. That's going to make your score jump, and it's going to jump a good bit too. So here's some caveats to that though. It has to be someone who has been making their payments on time. The balance is low, because if it's almost maxed, that's going to actually hurt you, because you don't want cards that are maxed. Now, let's say I use 10 years, for example, but it doesn't have to be 10 years. It could be less time. And you need to have access to them. So just in case, let's say your parents fall on bad times for whatever reason and they can't pay their payment, that's going to go back on you if it's later than 30 days. See what I'm saying? So when it reports again, it's going to ding your credit. So you need to be able to have access to that person, have great communication. So you don't want it to be like a coworker that leaves the job, you never see him again, or you leave the job. It needs to be somebody who you see regularly. And here's the thing, if say Mom and Dad, their payment's going to be late, they tell you, hey, this payment's going to be late. You can get removed from it, and then the next month, it's just going to stop reporting it. it won't report the negative as long as you're removed from it before it's the 30-day late. If it's 30 days late or more, it's too late for that. So that's the caveat to that. Number 3, kind of similar, but you get your own secured credit card. So how that works, you go to your bank, say, hey, I want to open up a secured credit card. You put, usually $500 is what they ask for. It's $500 of your own money. Goes into an account. You get a credit card. You can use it just like a regular credit card or debit card, and it's reported like a regular card. So it doesn't say, hey, this person's got a secured credit card, so you gotta treat them differently. No. So let's say you just get gas on it, swipe it, get your gas, get the bill, pay it off. Do that. 6 months, 12 months. That's gonna build your credit. And eventually, usually I think it's about 12 months, it can change to a normal regular credit card, and maybe they'll even up your credit limit. But just be careful, make sure you keep your balance 30% or less, even with a secured credit card. Because when your balance starts going up and it gets closer and closer to that max credit limit, your score is going to come down. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, so number 4, paying off debt. Let's say you have some charge-offs, dispute them. Okay, so especially if you have some time before getting, like say if you're going to apply for a house in 6 months, a year or something, if you have charge-offs, bad debt on there, dispute them. Now you don't want it, if it's something that's like on your credit for 5 years or so, that has less impact on your credit than let's say one that's recent, 6 months, a year or whatever. So go for the ones that are newer. You dispute it. Go through the forms, the 3 credit bureaus, you got to do it with all 3. They all have their own dispute form. You're basically saying that I have no knowledge of this debt. And they need to prove it. And they need to prove it in 30 days. If they don't prove it in 30 days, it comes off your credit. Done. Now, sometimes you have to do it multiple times. They're a little stubborn, you know, but you may need to do it a few times. That's why I'm saying you should do this well in advance of getting something, even if you're getting a car. And sometimes you got to pay it and they're not going to budge. So if you do decide to pay a debt, you need to ask them, hey, when I pay this off, I'd like for you to remove it from my credit card. Or, excuse me, back up. Remove it from my credit report. And if they say, well, we don't have the authorization to do that, we can't do that, they're lying. They can contact the credit bureaus and they can have it removed. So always do that. Get them to remove it. Now, you may not need to do that with all the debt. It really depends. If you're trying to get a mortgage, the lender is going to tell you what you need to do. So make sure you get their guidance first if you have these issues on your credit report. Talk to them. They may tell you, hey, yes, you need to remove these items. And sometimes, as long as you're paying it off, it's okay. But if you can get them to remove it, do that as well. And if you have any questions, these are the 5 tips. If you have any questions, you need more explanation, you know, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description box below, or you can even leave a comment and I'm happy to answer any question you have. Take it easy.